obnoxious awards that I could find online. I can't wait to see it in my mayor's office on the fifth floor at City Hall, right? Super fun. All right, so Mai mentioned this person already once, but this city has no idea what we have. This. Gosh, how do we talk about Mark Merin? Where do we begin? Yay! Civil rights attorney Mark Merin. Yeah, she's proud of her grandpa. Yes, she is, and she should be. I've worked with Mark Merin since Safe Ground was initially brought together to try to find safe, stable places where homeless people could just be people and live their lives and have a safe place to sleep, a safe place to eat, a safe place to keep their belongings. Everybody's like, wow, why don't these people just get a job? You ever try to get a job with everything you own on your back? It's impossible. And Mark and his wife Kathleen have just been with those who are without since the beginning. And we feel like he doesn't get enough attention. We feel like he doesn't take enough credit. You want to talk about the school fight?
Just in general, as organizers, I see a million organizers out here. And organizers, we're always talking about tools in our toolbox, right? So one of the tools in our toolbox that we'd be totally broken without is litigation. And without Mark Merin has been the only person, well, one of few people locally that would stand up to our local governments. And without that, things would not be where we are today. So I appreciate Mark so much for having, the wherewithal and the chutzpah to get up there and get after it and sue the city and sue the county and all those things that it takes like a certain skill set, right? Like it's not, we're all organizers, we can talk to people, we can get them on our team, but when things go bad and they pass some horrible, ordinance or whatnot, our last tool in the toolbox is litigation. And Mark Merin's always been there for us, whether they were closing a bunch of schools, whether they're doing horrible things to our homeless brothers and sisters. Mark has always been willing to step up, and without him, Sacramento wouldn't be as great a place as it is. So that's my part.
Yeah. So Mark, you want to come up and say a few words?
Thanks, Tammy. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Organized Sacramento. Well, it's almost like the last man standing, with civil rights law. I mean, who's gone into it now? Young lawyers can't afford it. They get out of law school, they need a job. They need to make some money. But civil rights doesn't pay. You have to work your butt off and finally win, and then convince a court that you're entitled to fees. That's how generally civil rights litigation works. But because I've been doing this long enough, I have a little bit of a bankroll and can put up the time, which is what it takes. And Tammy mentioned a loss of Measure O. The fight's not over yet. That's right. We are putting together an omnibus lawsuit to take on the sweeps and to take on Measure O, and to try to cut off all these alternatives that the city and the county have used to try to sweep homeless people away so that they don't have to deal with the problem. And now once those are cut off, they're actually going to have to do what? Build housing. Whatever happened to public housing? Shouldn't we all have a right to housing? Not just a human right to housing, a legal right to housing, an enforceable legal right. So that's what's coming up next. The unfortunate thing is that because I'm one of the few civil rights lawyers in Sacramento, and there are a few others, I get a lot of other kinds of cases aside from homeless cases. I get, unfortunately now, police abuse cases by the droves. We have in our office now 15 death cases where people have been killed by police officers outside jail and inside jail. And they've committed suicide because they're not being looked after, they kill one another because they're mentally ill and they're not being properly cared for, as our own grand jury has recognized recently. So, you know, there are no end to the problems that, as Eric pointed out, finally end up in court. And when that happens, we're there. And I hope, and I can look around, I can see there are many people with whom I have worked, and I hope that in the future I'll have an opportunity to work with more of you, and then we'll be celebrating victories, not just the battle. Thank you all.
Thank you. I'm so honored tonight that Stephante Clark is here. His brother Stephon Clark was murdered by the police. And thank you for being here. I know you're busy.